Picture this. It's the 90s, Japan's economy is booming, everything is neon, and Nissan, yes, the same Nissan that brought you speed machines like the Skyline, decides, hey, let's shake things up, let's go a little retro, a little quirky, and a lot of awesome. And boom, out rolls the Nissan Figaro. This car was so sought after that Nissan had to hold a literal lottery to decide who got to own one. That's right, folks. A car so exclusive, just getting one was like hitting the jackpot. What's up, car lovers? Today we're not talking about horsepower, top speed, or racing records. Nope, today's ride is all about style, fun, and being the coolest cat at the car meet. We're talking about the Nissan Figaro. It's a JDM hidden gem, a retro-inspired blast from the past that's managed to stand out as an icon. And you're about to find out why this little car's charm is no joke. Now, before we dive into the Figaro itself, let's talk about the Pike Factory. Sounds like a James Bond villain's lair, right? But it's actually Nissan's experimental workshop in the 80s where they just went, let's get weird. Their goal? To make cars that stood out, broke molds, and reminded people that driving should be fun. Out of this experiment came a whole lineup of quirky cars, and one of the stars was, you guessed it, the Figaro. So what inspired the Figaro's look? Imagine the 1960s European roadsters. Round headlights, chrome accents, a vintage silhouette, all this packaged up with a twist of Japanese flavor. Nissan looked back, took what they loved, and created something totally fresh. It's like retro chic on wheels. And unlike your typical JDM cars, the Figaro isn't trying to scream, I'm fast. It's more like, I'm here to turn heads and have a good time. Now let's talk about the hype. Nissan originally planned to produce around 8,000 Figaros, but they underestimated just how much people would go crazy for this car. Interest was so massive that Nissan cranked out nearly 20,000 of these. But even then, they had to hold a lottery just for people to get their hands on one. Imagine that, a car so in demand you had to win it. And this wasn't just any car. The Figaro was exclusive, with 4 classic colors representing each season. Buying one felt like being part of a cool vintage club. So, what's under the hood? Don't expect a fire-breathing turbo monster. This car's got a modest 1.0-liter turbocharged engine pushing out around 76 horsepower. It's not breaking any land speed records, but that's not what it's about. It's a city cruiser, a smooth ride for sunny afternoons, a car to enjoy. It's like choosing a vinyl record over a digital download. Slower, sure, but infinitely more stylish. Let me tell you what it's like to drive one of these beauties. Imagine the wind in your hair, cruising down the street with the soft top rolled back. You're not racing. Nope. You're just here to enjoy the ride, wave at passersby, and soak in the cool factor. It's a total vibe, like driving an Instagram filter on wheels. People stop, they stare, they wonder what in the world just drove by, and that's exactly the reaction the Figaro was designed for. Let's get into the details. That convertible roof is a soft top that retracts into the trunk, letting you cruise open-air style. Inside, you've got leather seats, a vintage-style dash, and a quirky little radio that feels like it's straight out of the 1960s. It's these touches that make the Figaro special. Nissan didn't just make a car, they made an experience. The car's got flair and class, but never takes itself too seriously. It's here for a good time. Did you know Princess Diana herself drove a Figaro? That's right. This car has a touch of royal status. It's also popped up in movies, music videos, and even a few art exhibits. It's not just a car, it's a style icon. Some people even use it for weddings, photo shoots, you name it. If you see one of these, you'll remember it. Now, you'd think a car this small and this retro would have faded into obscurity by now, but no. The Figaro is actually more popular than ever among collectors, and its resale value keeps going up. People want these because it's not just a car, it's a statement. It's a reminder of a time when cars were as much about personality as performance. In a world of SUVs and sedans, the Figaro is like that friend who rocks vintage clothes and somehow pulls it off effortlessly. All right, let's compare. When people think of JDM, they think of Supras, Skylines, RX-7 ES, fast, furious, and full of power. But the Figaro? It's in a league of its own. This car isn't here to compete with the big boys. It's here to chill. It's like the laid-back cousin who doesn't need to prove anything. And that's its charm. It's unassuming, and that's why it's so loved. So, what have we learned today? The Nissan Figaro isn't fast, it's not powerful, and it's not flashy. But it's got a vibe so cool and relaxed it just oozes style. It's rare, it's charming, and it's the kind of car you don't forget. That's why this little retro dream is still a fan favorite. All right, now it's your turn. What do you think of the Figaro? Is it just cute or is it iconic? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you're all about discovering cars with character, cars that stand out from the crowd, smash that subscribe button. Because here, we're all about the legends, the oddballs, and the hidden gems that make the car world go round. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next ride.